lies Skinny the cat, Uncle Scar. Skinny was an amazing kitty. He was my companion, my beloved. Simply put, he was a great one. But death couldn't keep his big fat nose out of it. Skinny died. Skinny died. His cause of death unknown. He came back to life last Halloween, mummified to a skeleton. But this year, death can kiss my ass. I need help. We're gonna bring him back, and this time, we're gonna do it right. The Great One will walk the earth once more. I stole this amulet from a demon in hell, and so I've heard it told from the cloud. This amulet possesses many who have perished. Skinny's soul is too pure to suffer. New plan. Using the bones of the great Skinny and the power of the amulet, we will rebuild him! The bones only offer a fragment of the original soul. So be it. No lefalia. Weiter Skinny. We're almost done. Now let's finish this. Welcome home, old friend. It's great to have you back in your original glory somewhat. Now, Mr. Skin, hear me out. Your mission is to destroy all Surround Productions associates. If you do your job correctly, I will buy you McDonald's. Get them.
It's time to play the game.
Get them, Mr. Skin.
Time to play the game!
I'm counting on you.
I am the game, you don't wanna play me. I am control, no way you can shake me. I am heavy debt, no way you can pay me. I am the pain, and I know you can't take me.
Here we are yet again. The third time is definitely the charm, because this year we've decided to balance things out. We're going to read some Creepypasta. In attempt to avoid any further interruptions as of Halloween specials 1 and 2, I've decided to go traveling this time. Ventures Ryan has also decided to join the party. Rejected Gamer 230, Old Black Cat 1422, they should be here soon too. Anyway, let's get right into this.
Thank you, Rumba. Someone just tried to call.
Oh, really?
Hi. Me and Surround Productions got business. Oh, Surround Productions, you better hold on to your ass, because I'm coming for you this Halloween. I want to play. I'll see this afternoon. So Mocha came out here with us too. Yeah, she agreed to it. And Luke's out here playing Saints Row the Third Remastered on PS4. Yes, we brought a TV out here. Didn't we?
Yep.
Well, anyway, here's Angry Sylvester. I'm pretty sure that a lot of you remember watching Looney Tunes as a kid. Well, so do I, and my favorite character was Sylvester the cat. One night, back in the summer of 1998, I saw an episode that, well, it rather frightened me. But since the cartoon played late at night, when I should have gone to bed, I was half asleep, so I only remembered parts of it, like a creepy TV in Sylvester's room that turned on all by itself. I thought maybe it was just a nightmare. But it wasn't. The next summer, me and my brother were bored on an afternoon, so we decided to watch some TV. We flicked to Cartoon Network, just in time when Looney Tunes was starting. It played 2 normal episodes of Sylvester, nothing special, except for one thing. When the second part was coming to its end, me and my brother felt like something isn't right. We thought that it might show that certain episode once again. And it happened. This episode didn't have the usual opening, which many of the Looney Tunes segments had, neither the catchy title music. It just skipped right to the title screen. No fade or anything. It just switched right there. There was no title written on the screen. Instead, it showed the living room of a house. The layouts were drawn entirely with 2 colors. Blood red and black as the void. The only sound that could be heard during this part was a woman saying, "Directed by." The creepiest thing about it was that the audio used our country's native language, Hungarian, and this happened long before Cartoon Network started broadcasting cartoons recorded in Hungary. Also, it sounded like the announcer was slowly being strangled by something. The episode starts with Sylvester standing in front of something that looked like a military base. There wasn't any music or sound here either. Just dead silence. Sylvester also didn't look like he did in the other cartoons. He had looked bruised and badly beaten, and his eyes had no pupils. Just pure white. He didn't say anything. He just looked really, really angry. In the next scene, he entered the military base. It was empty, no guards or soldiers were there, but Sylvester still entered and wanted to get revenge on the people for what they did to him. So he decided to sabotage the military base by destroying all of the lights hanging from the ceiling. The scene, in fact, also looked very disturbing. While Sylvester was tearing down the lights, his claws grew to ridiculous size, and they were covered in blood and oil. The only sound that could be heard during the scene was the sound of sparking electricity, which also sounded very loud, and in fact, frighteningly realistic. The scene was also flashing rapidly, which made it dangerous to people who suffer from epilepsy. The same scene repeated itself 10 times. the last time, including a part where Sylvester paused what he was doing and said, "You people can't hide forever. I'll get my revenge on what you guys did to me and the Looney Gang," until it cut to the next scene. In the next scene, Sylvester was at home. However, Granny and Tweety were nowhere to be found. He was all alone. His room was empty. The floor was blood red, and the walls looked like as if they were on fire. The room contained 2 tables, a large one that had something like a toy Dalek and a screwdriver on it, and a smaller one that had an old TV on it. There was also a window in the background, but its beams were misaligned, so it looked like an inverted crucifix. Also outside, it was just pitch black. Not if it was like night outside, but like if there was literally no existence outside that window. Oblivion. So Sylvester proceeded to repair his toy Dalek with the screwdriver, when suddenly the TV turned on by itself. The TV showed an extremely creepy cartoon. The background music sounded like somebody was randomly banging on an electric guitar. The recording was reversed and played back that way. It started showing a forest with a cartoony moon above it with an extremely creepy look on its face. A few seconds later, it switched to a long room. The room was empty, but something can be heard lurking at the end of the room, and it made a really creepy metallic thumping sound with every step it made. A few seconds later, it switched to the other end of the room. Porky Pig was standing there, and also looking angry. He was holding a pistol in his hand, but he didn't look bruised like Sylvester did. He said something to the monster at the other end of the room. Then he fired his gun a few times. After that, it went static, and a few seconds later, a really loud bang was heard, and the screen faded to red. A few seconds later, the screen faded back to Sylvester in his room, standing next to the wreckage of his TV. He looked even more angry, even more bruised, and now his eyes were blood red. That creepy image of Sylvester stayed on the screen for about 10 seconds, and then it just went black. A half a minute later, Cartoon Network came back with a normal coming up next screen. You might have already heard me read this one, but here's Arthur the Lost episode. So while Luke's driving his big purple tank around, enjoy this reading of the Arthur Lost episode. Arthur was a kids' TV show which started in the late 1990s and was canceled a little while ago. It's one of the weirdest reality-based shows that sets examples for kids. I grew up with it, and I still watch it when it comes on weekday mornings when I don't have school. This story, though, will explain what has soured me from buying other old episodes on tape. I had written this description of the episode a few years back and left it on my computer, and after much thought, I've decided to release it. This story takes place on May 10th, 2009. I wish this tape had survived long enough for me to get some screenshots from it, but alas, the film tore badly, and during repairs I lost all but 5 minutes of the episode. The tape was bought secondhand about a month ago from my normal secondhand media store, the Corner Store. For those who don't live in central Alberta, it's an old music store that became a secondhand book movie store some time ago. I have bought almost 100 VHS tapes from him, all of which worked fine, except this one. I bought the tape because I'm trying to find the old episodes of Arthur again, to bring back memories, good memories, of my childhood. I love that show, and I still watch it when it comes on. As all should know, Arthur ran for a pretty long time, and the episodes that were coming out around this time were nothing to brag about. The animation looked cheap and rather rushed. The stories were often dull, and the focus on mental illnesses in children, like the one about the kid with Asperger's, feel out of place. Characters have changed. The bullies are now good guys, like Binky. Francine is even more of a bitch, and DW no longer has moments that make her seem like more than a spoiled brat. The show was pretty much ruined by that point, and to escape that mess, I went out to buy some old episodes on tape. Home recordings were of particular interest because I could see some of the old commercials that had aired at the time. I bought about $5 worth of old tapes, each at 50 cents. They all seemed fine. Each was properly labeled with episode times, recording dates, and timestamps. However, the one that caught my eye was the title Death of Grandma, recorded on March 5th, 1998, with a lone timestamp. 1524 lost the channel. It was an episode I didn't know, from an air date that seemed almost too old to be trusted. I noticed that the title had been written on a patch of whiteout. I decided against scrapping it off. Perhaps it was a recording of something in the people's lives. I decided to watch that first. The beginning was the opening of Arthur. The theme sounded a bit tinny, probably due to bad recording equipment. The tape had issues which troubled me, mainly the tracking. I just couldn't get it to stop being jumpy and awkward to watch. Eventually I gave up, leaving it where there was a line of fuzz across the top, and I sat down. There was no opening title for the episode. It showed Elwood City Hospital, something I wasn't very familiar with. The sad music was playing. The only car in the parking lot was the Reeds. It cut to Arthur and DW in the waiting room. Arthur was reading a scare your pants off book, while DW pestered him about the story. The volume was bad, making it really hard for me to listen to. But I'll do my best to recreate what they were saying, though it's hard to remember. DW.
Why won't you play with me, Arthur? I'm bored! Why are we even here?
Shut up, DW, I'm trying to read, said Arthur. The parents came down the hall. The mom was crying, and the dad looked shocked. DW ran to them, asking why Arthur was ignoring her. The dad told her to sit down. Now, kids, I'm afraid that we won't be seeing Grandma Thora again. She's gone to a better place. He broke into tears. As always, the voice acting was pretty good. Arthur dropped his book in shock and stared. They sat there unmoving, the tape rippling with static, as the parents' crying looped over and over. It cut to them at home. The mom was on the phone, looking sad but acting professional. DW was staring at the TV, but it was a static screen, kinda like that movie Poltergeist. Baby Kate was just sitting there unmoving, along with DW looking at the TV static. The dad was making a wedding cake, his face grim. The doorbell rang and Arthur opened the door. It was Buster. Hey, I heard what happened. You want to go down to the sugar bowl and talk? Sure. The shot of the sugar bowl appeared, but there was no music, only wind blowing. I noticed it was fall in the episode as dead leaves were littering the ground. Arthur and Buster were sitting there, not talking, not moving. It reminded me of the still frames that sometimes appeared in the old TMNT cartoon. Buster spoke, but his mouth was not moving with the words at all. We should do something fun to cheer ourselves up. Arthur just stared at him, eyes blank. It jumped suddenly to the funeral. Everyone was in black, there was no music, only crying. The casket was pure white, draped in flowers. It showed Arthur, his face wet with tears, before the imagination sound cue came in. The casket opened, and it wasn't Grandma Thora, but instead his mom. Her face was heavily wrinkled. Like in the episode where DW got lost in the mall and was thinking about what life would be like without her. Her teeth were showing and the color was off.
Shut up!
Anyways, her teeth were showing and the color was off, being more of a yellow than the normal white. Her eyes suddenly opened, but they were not human, but rather black button eyes like on Arthur's stuffed bear Stanley. He screamed and everyone vanished, leaving him alone in the church. The walls fell in, exposing a red and black streaked sky. DW's laughter could be heard high and rapid. There was a loud bang, and the images stopped. Arthur was sitting there with his face pale. His mom was whispering something to Dad. DW was crying. They were walking in a single file line to the coffin. As Arthur got closer, you could hear the buzzing of flies. He swallowed and wiped his eyes. The coffin lid was open. He looked in, there was a shot of his face. He was enraged. There was a flash of white, and the sound was gone for a moment. Suddenly, they were in the car again. The episode ended. As for the commercials, they weren't anything that amazing. Just some ads for Chick-fil-A and KSPS. Now, the next part did have the title, Recovery. It was written on a plain white background for the title card. I could hear DW screaming, like when Arthur punched her before the episode started up. Of course DW deserved that, but that's a different story for another day. The family was at home. It seemed like a continuation of the previous part. DW was in her room, solemnly playing with her dolls. The parents were reminiscing over pictures, and Arthur was in his room. Soon, Pale came in and started barking at him. Wanting to play, of course. Arthur got up and kicked the dog. He kept kicking him, the soundtrack now consisting of Pale's yelps, before slamming his door shut. Kate starts crying. Arthur gritted his teeth, and the scene faded out. The next scene showed that it was nighttime as Arthur crept out of his room with his backpack on his shoulder. He walked past Pale, who whined and drew away, before grabbing his coat and sneaking out. He ran for a full 3 minutes, the streets all in shadow. There was music, very soft, normal, happy music that we all knew from the show. That ended, though, when he ran into the graveyard. He stopped at his grandma's grave, staring at it. There was an owl hooting sound, and he started digging, crying out in pain as he did. His bare hands were soon slicked in dark red blood, and he stopped, finding the coffin. He was crying now. The coffin opened up, and Arthur was inside of it. His eyes were closed, and his glasses shattered. His family gathered around, staring down and crying. Kate was screaming, and for whatever reason, DW threw Pale into the open grave. Another reason to hate DW, of course. Although his body was unmoving, there was a still of him running. The screen went black, and there was a low sound that rose to a high chatter, I meant. It was the Tibbles laughing. The grave started to spin in empty space, opening and sucking the void into it. I could hear DW yelling,
Kate did it!
over and over again, mixed with Pale's cries of pain. Stanley appeared, spiraling down through the blackness. His head was torn off, and the cartoony organs from the episode where Arthur cut his knee started trailing out from the body. There was a series of loud thuds, and it showed Arthur again, sitting there in the sugar bowl. Buster was unmoving on the floor besides the booth. His eyes were gone. The red sockets started to stream blood, and Arthur screamed in rage. There were a few white flashes, and it showed him in prison, wearing the black and white clothing the show always used. and his face covered in scars. His last words were louder than the other speech clips. I killed them all. I beat out Kate's brains and stabbed DW. I killed my dog. My parents ate poison. I killed my friends and I shot Mr. Ratburn, but I didn't do it. She did it. Dora did it. She made me kill them. It went to the credits, and it was the normal cheery music. Stunned, I went to rewind the tape to see if what I just saw was real or if it was just a bad dream. When I tried to rewind the video, the tape seized up, so I took the tape and opened it. The film had split an inch from one reel all the way down to a few inches from the other one. Either I had just witnessed one of the worst things to ever be associated with a kids show, or I'm just off my nut. I will never know. I remember it pretty well though, suggesting it was real. If this was made by some sick fuck as a sick joke, I give them a thumbs up on making something that seems so real, like if it was actually part of the series. After all, the video had never cut out like it said on the tape, unless it had on what had been originally been recorded. But now I think of it, since the show always covers very real topics, could this have been a real episode that they only aired once? They did one on DW's bird dying, but never one on abuse or anything like that. If it really was a real episode, and I almost hope it is, I'm intrigued and I really want to see it again to prove myself I'm not going mad. Well, why didn't that dog just order Taco Bell like he did the other day? Ladies and gentlemen, we will be taking a short break. We will be back momentarily.
Sorry I'm late.
Oh, no worries, man.
I had to beat an old lady with a stick to get this. Can we get Taco Bell?
Well, Alex? It's showtime. Johnny Cage here. You know me from the Cage Chronicles and Power Rangers and the upcoming Cage Rage. I'm the best there's ever been, and you might be asking how you can be too. Well, you could go to the gym and eat fruits and veggies, but whatever you do, don't sit and binge eat pizza all day and become 900 pounds. Seriously, just don't. However, the best way to go, Kraft macaroni and cheese. This stuff is amazing. It gives you the power of the gods. Eat it in the right moderation, and it will help get you strong bones, and it'll help you live longer. But don't eat 10 bowls a day, plus pizza and fries, because otherwise you'll get fat and you'll die. Anyway, you can get it in a box, you can get it in a bowl, you can even get it bacon flavored. If you want the power of the gods, the way to go is Kraft macaroni and cheese. Just listen to what our customers have to say.
I'm gonna go buy a box of macaroni tonight and eat it all by myself.
You only have the power of macaroni for a little bit, so you better get the 15-pack.
Well, my question is, if I eat the macaroni, will I be able to do the shadow kick like you can?
Yeah, you'll be able to do the shadow kick. Hey you, what's your favorite drink?
Is this a trick question? Pepsi.
Have a Pepsi. Or even
Strawberry sugar-free soda.
you'll be the best you've ever been if you choose Kraft macaroni and cheese. Oh yeah! I'm so pretty.
Friendship?
I need to have one of those autographs.
I need one of those macaroni cups autographed.
I already have mine. I met him at CageCon 2015.
that commercial was a sack of crap. I don't know what they meant to accomplish by that, but I'm disappointed and a little angry now.
But you have to admit that Johnny Cage isn't a fake. The next story coming up is Mr. Mix. Does anyone remember an old PC game from the early 1990s called Mr. Mix? It's mainly a typing game, similar to Mario Teaches Typing, where you have to type words into a box to make a chef, the titular Mr. Mix, put ingredients into a bowl. Unlike most typing games, however, this game's notorious for having an insane difficulty curve. The game has a words per minute requirement for each level, being as low as 10 on level 1 and as high as 85 on the third. By level 5, the requirement reaches over 500, effectively making it impossible to proceed any further. One of the main things that people noticed about this game immediately was the background music. The music on the first level was an unsettling pattern of growls that got progressively louder as the level went on, often causing damage to early computer speakers that were not designed to handle extremely high volumes of sound. The second level had no music at all, and the third had what sounded like an extremely low quality recording of a hairdryer playing in the background. The remaining 2 levels had an extremely loud, high-pitched ringing throughout the level that caused severe eardrum damage to those who managed to get that far. Another rather disturbing aspect of the game was the design of Mr. Mix himself. He was a large, round-faced, overweight man with large, beady eyes and red spots on his cheeks. Most children who played the game reported having vivid nightmares of Mr. Mix, speaking to them in a quiet, raspy voice, and threatening them to keep quiet about something. However, none of them could exactly remember what that was. One psychologist who saw many of these children reported being disturbed by the sheer amount of terror on the faces of the children as they recounted the details of the nightmare. Many of the children broke down into tears in the process, begging for their parents to save them. However, no direct relationship to the game itself could be determined by these few cases, as not all the children suffered the same adverse effects. For obvious reasons, this game did not sell very well. It remained in relative obscurity until a few years ago, when PC hackers got a hold of a ROM of the game and started digging through it. Using memory hacking software, they managed to crack the game's code and bypass the impossible 5th level. What they found, however, was extremely disturbing and caused many of them to quit the expedition altogether. According to the reports these hackers left behind, the game behaves very strangely if the 5th level is bypassed. The game crashes violently and closes, writing a bunch of files to the user's System32 directory to the point that the RAM was almost completely filled. These files are reportedly pictures of people with horribly deformed faces, appearing to scream in agony with their eyes appearing to be bleeding from their tear ducts and their outer layer of skin torn clean off in multiple places. If the user attempts to delete these files, the computer will violently crash and blue screen, causing permanent, irreparable damage to the user's hard drive. The hackers found that this was caused by a lone byte in the game's ROM that triggered when the 5th level was completed. After removing this byte, they were able to proceed to the 6th and final level. Unfortunately, all of the original hackers declined to discuss what they saw in the final level. All of them became extremely paranoid and reclusive, refusing to talk about anything related to the game and showing astonishingly extreme symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Most of them ceased from being able to form coherent sentences within a week, and within a month, all of them went missing. All remaining copies of this game were destroyed. To this day, no one knows what was in that game that caused them so much psychological damage. Maybe it's better that way. 2 years after this incident, a
man was arrested after trying to kidnap an 8-year-old girl from a grocery store. Through DNA and fingerprint analysis, the man was identified as one of the original hackers who viewed the final level of the game. He was wearing a white chef's hat and had a look of unspeakable malice and insanity on his face. When interrogated, the man would only say one thing: "I'm Mr. Mix." Shh. Back on track here, we're going to be getting right into our main event. But first, we're going to be doing an unboxing video because somebody was generous enough to leave me a package.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi-ho!
Shit. We haven't lost him, have we? I think we lost him. I think we lost him. He definitely won't find us now.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi-ho!
Well, if it isn't the Phantom...
It's time to play.
What do you want to play, Halo?
Let's play this little game called Hide the Soul.
But I want to play Halo Combat Evolved. I mean, if you don't want to play Fortnite and watch TikTok all day.
Fuck that!
Absolutely, but why have you come out all this way? Why are you trying to kill me?
An old friend says that you're worth it. Worth what? I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Snowball's chance in hell are you getting my soul. On second thought, I have a proposal for you.
What are you talking about?
Let's make a deal. I have a bit of a problem. A pest.
Who do I look like? The fucking exterminator?
A pest, which is another serial killer who might be surpassing you. Freddy, Jason, and everyone else. Perhaps you've heard of the Phantom, spawn of darkness?
Only because you're talking about him.
While he's been reborn in hell and beaten several times, he keeps coming back. I'm gonna need someone to take care of that. You think you have what it takes to destroy a hellspawn?
What will I get out of killing him just 'cause you can't?
You'll get his body. You'll get his body. You might even get all of his hellspawn powers, and you'll get to do it live because he always interrupts our feed. And if you don't like that, there is another option. Kill him, you get me. My heart and soul, take it all. But only if you dispose of the Phantom first.
Ah, I like that.
And one more thing. Paying you in advance. You know, don't you have a wife? You gotta take her on a date.
$500.
And my soul.
Just you watch and see. Don't worry, folks, he didn't actually take my wallet. He just took out money and ran. And I'm not just gonna let him possess me either. Anyway, here's our last story. The theater. After this, we're gonna pack up and head back to headquarters. Have you ever heard of an old game called The Theater? Yeah, didn't think so. Probably because many say it doesn't even exist. You see, The Theater was an old game released around the same time as Doom. Today, if you ever find it, it's only available on crappy bootleg CD-ROMs, which more often than not, don't even actually contain the game. The actual legitimate copies that they say were released back in the day feature a blank cover with nothing but the sprite of what has since been named the Ticket Taker. He is simply a poorly drawn, pixelated, bald Caucasian man with large red lips, wearing a red vest over a white shirt and black pants. He is completely expressionless, although some say that if you smash the disc, his face is shown as angry the next time you look at the cover, though this is just dismissed as an urban legend. What is peculiar about the theater, though, is that there's no developer named on the jewel case nor a description of the game on the back. It's simply the Ticket Taker on a white background on both sides. The game was initially known for its inability to install correctly. The installation process immediately locks up the computer when the user reaches a licensing agreement. Also strange about the licensing agreement for the theater is that whenever the development studio is supposed to be named, the text is simply a blank line. Anyway, most people who have claimed to own one of the original CDs say that they figured out how to install the game by simply rebooting their computer on the licensing agreement with the disc still inside. Then they are prompted to press I agree on startup. Then they will continue with the installation. If a player supposedly manages to find what they believe to be a working copy, they have said that the installer window will freeze and stop responding before you can click your first next, but they do also say that their PCs do not lock up and it is only the installer that freezes. It is unknown if these are actual copies or fakes, but it is widely thought that these working copies are just to draw internet attention with no proof of the installation effects. Upon proper installation, the game starts up without any introduction besides a main menu that is simply the sprite of a movie theater's exterior on an empty street. The title fades in, and then the three menu buttons, New Game, Load, Options. Selecting Options immediately crashes the game to the desktop. Load is said not to function at all. Even if you do have a save game, nothing happens when you press it. Thus, New Game is the only working menu option. Once it is selected, you are in a first-person view. You are standing in an empty theater lobby, with the exception of the ticket taker standing in front of a dark hallway which one can only assume leads to the theaters themselves. There's nothing to do but look at the poorly drawn, mostly illegible movie posters, or approach the ticket taker. Once the player moves towards the ticket taker, a very low quality sound clip plays saying, "Thank you, please enjoy the movie," along with a speech box saying the same thing. You then walk into the hallway, and the screen fades to black, and you're back in the empty lobby and you do the exact same thing again and again and again. While this may sound like a really horrible game, a number of peculiar things occur as you continue to play it. The number of times that you have to continue into the hall after giving your ticket to the ticket taker before the strange events happen is unknown. Most state that it's completely random and could take anywhere from the first playthrough to the 400th. What happens, though, has deeply disturbed some players. The first occurrence is when the player fades back in after walking into the hallway. This time, they will notice that the ticket taker is completely absent. The player then, without any other options, decides to walk into the dark hallway. The sound clip and text box mentioned previously still play in the absence of the ticket taker. But when the player walks into the hallways, the screen does not fade out. It goes pitch black as they walk deeper into the hall. But the player's footsteps sound clip is still playing as they continue to push the up button on their keyboard. Those claiming to have played the original game report to have felt extremely uncomfortable walking down the hallway, anticipating the whole way something horrible happening. Well, eventually the player is unable to move forward. There is nothing for a few moments before a strange sprite that is described as the ticket taker, but with a swirl for a face, appears and stands before the player. The original players of the game say their bodies immediately froze up and their stomachs churned as they saw this sprite, which has been appropriately named the Swirly Head Man. Nothing happens as a swirly head man stands before them. Then, suddenly a piercing screech plays as the game glitches out. This lasts for a few minutes, with the screeching being continuous. Then the player is abruptly returned to the lobby with all the sounds and graphics being as they should be. The game continues normally for the next couple of cycles, entering the hallway, with a couple of the original players claiming the swirly headman would briefly appear and disappear in the corner of the screen as a brisk yelp sound effect plays. Then, at some point after meeting the swirly headman, the player sees the ticket taker pacing back and forth, though there is no walking animation. The sprite's limbs are completely static, so he just hops up and down slightly as a substitute, with his eyes being wide and his mouth open to simulate a worried facial expression. Some players noted that the movie posters had been replaced with images of the swirly headman, which caused them immediately to turn their character's head away from the posters and approach the ticket taker. Then another different low-quality sound clip plays, but the speech box contains nothing but corrupted characters that would cause whatever text that would have been in the box to be completely illegible. Due to the extreme low quality of the sound, it is debated by players what exactly the ticket taker says at this point, though it is widely agreed that he says, "Never reach the other levels." Then the screen fades out once again and returns the player back to their starting point in the lobby, but the ticket taker is gone, and the hallway is blocked by a large brick wall sprite. Touching the brick wall will immediately crash the game, and that's all there is to it. No one knows what the other levels are, or how to gain access to them, nor is it known why the swirly head man causes such as acute fear in those who have seen him in the game. All the original copies of the theater have either been lost or destroyed. But the creepiest part is the fact that all the original players of the game claim to occasionally see a brief glimpse of the swirly head man out of the corner of their eyes. Happy Halloween, everyone. Before we got started here, I got a visit from Mr. Ghostface. Ghostface sure thought he could take me, so I showed him my power. What power, you may be asking? Well, allow me to demonstrate. The amulet. This thing sure is nicer than the Infinity Gauntlet was. I ripped it right off of a demon's chest, and now I'm going to use it to kill everyone. Every single goddamned one of you. The first time my luck had run out, and the second time the police had interfered. Good thing that this time, Alan is getting busy with Kim in Florida, with all of those gators. While he's gone, I'm gonna destroy you all as we know it. Prepare to die.
Yeah, bring it on.
Huh? Show yourself, disembodied...
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi-ho! Ha ha ha!
Hello, Phantom. You and I got business.
It looks like we have a special guest. It's Chucky, the killer doll.
Maybe you were expecting Dolly Dearest?
I sooner expected Pinhead, the Cenobite. Now what brings you here, friend?
Just business.
Come to think of it, I have an offer for you, Mr. Ray. I've done some observing. Recently, demons have been following you around, trying to get your soul.
You mean that mutant teddy bear and that scary-ass plastic baby?
You'll never hear from them again if you take upon this offer. Join us, Chucky. You will be free from your limitations. You'll have the most ultimate power. Join us.
Ultimate power, huh?
Yes.
You're fucking nuts. Ultimate power. Power of the damned. I'd just be getting screwed. I'd rather possess a blow-up doll. Now why the fuck am I here? Oh yeah! I think I remember.
Alright then, I'm gonna put the toys away.
Oh, well you missed one.
No! The amulet!
Thanks for telling me how it works. Jigto mir salapera! Bye, kids.
Hey guys, this is Fabio here once again. I've found myself in a most unusual situation. So, not only did everyone's phones, they just got their signal intruded by some guy that just got killed by Chucky. Yeah, I don't know who that was or what the deal was with that there, but yeah. So the Phantom guy or something like that. Well, yeah, he's dead. Chucky killed him. It was a very interesting battle, but we could have done without the signal intrusion. You know what I'm saying? Now, currently, I'm not in Pennsylvania. Let me explain. Okay, So I was just sitting down and I was going to watch Halloween 4, you know, the return of Michael Myers. You know, a fun way to spend Halloween. All of a sudden, I found myself clear out in the middle of Illinois, of all places, quite abruptly, I might add. I don't know what side of Illinois, but I know some of you are going to think that this sounds quite ridiculous, and this portal, this green portal, just happened to open up outside. But you want to know what really fucking sucks? I'll tell you what really fucking sucks. The portal just closed as soon as I walked through. I don't know. But one way or another, I'm going to get back home, and I will be watching Halloween 4. If it means I have to fly or whatever, then I guess I'll be flying. Might as well start calling me pilot. I don't know. But since it's Halloween, maybe on a broom. Actually, no. Here's how I'll get home, alright, here we go. Maybe. So while I was walking around this forest wondering what the hell just happened, I ran into the one and only Michael Myers. Get it? Illinois, Haddonfield, Michael Myers. You know how that sort of thing goes, but what a coincidence, you know what I'm saying? It turns out he's an Uber driver. I guess that's what he does the other, 364 days of the year while he's preparing to kill people. But let me explain. So we got some Steak and Shake, great place I might add, which is run by Terminators. Now we're not talking Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator. We're talking like the skeleton, exoskeleton Terminators, with the teeth and everything. Well, Michael Myers wanted Subway. He's trying to lose a little bit of weight. He's trying to cut down a little bit. You know how it goes. So I'm just waiting for him to get back into the truck. Never would have guessed that he liked Subway, but hey, that's an interesting tidbit that we all know now because it's out there for the people to know. And another thing while I was here, not only did I run into Michael Myers, but I also ran into Johnny Cage. Of all the people in the world, Johnny Cage is in Illinois. It's weird, I know. Not only that, but I got to be in a commercial with him. So that will be airing soon. About how Kraft macaroni gives you the power of the gods. That, though, I'm not sure about. It could just be a marketing thing. Now, after Michael Myers got out of the subway, we were supposed to go to Surround Production headquarters. I don't know if we're still going to do that or not. We'll see what happens. But, the guys that I work with on the commercial told me to go there. That makes sense. That's where commercials are filmed. So it looks like we're going to Surround Production headquarters. Should be a good time. Again, this is the weirdest shit. Maybe it's a dream. I don't know. Possibly. We'll find out. Anyway, guys, here he comes. Michael Myers. See ya. He's not gonna get much out of him. He's the man of few words, as we all know. So I would kind of figure it'd be hard for him to order fast food. But hey, maybe he did it online or something. I don't know. Anyway, take care.
Well, we've had fun, but it looks like we're out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the conclusion.
Did you see it? I killed the Phantom.
Wait, what?
I sucked him into his own amulet. Now, we had a deal. Give me the power, I beg of you! Oh! Stupid cat, get off me! What's the big idea? You're fucking kidding me. We had a deal. We did. But you'll have to kill me first. Now what are you doing with that sword? Thank the Phantom for telling me how to take your soul. Sectumia Selpira!
Oh! What the?
You again! Don't get comfortable. This isn't over. I'll be back.
I always come back.
I'm gonna get you, man. I'm gonna get you!
Oh, I know you. Well, I happened to walk in on the battle trying to find surround productions. Productions? Yeah, productions is a word, right? Headquarters, so I had my Uber driver help you out with Chucky. I hope that's okay.
Whoa. Fabio? And your Uber driver was Michael Myers?
Yep, long story, but I walked right into Illinois through a portal purely on accident. I don't normally go looking for portals.
Phantom's been doing some rituals. That's probably all you got here.
Well, is there anything that you can do, or am I just gonna have to figure it out on my own? Well, that was quick. Very anticlimactic, I might add.
I don't know where it leads.
Back home, thank God, but I've gotten this far. I suppose I'll chill for a bit. If that sounds good to you, you let me know.
Hell yeah, man. Faboween.
Hell yeah, the 31st day of Faboween. I never thought how this would end. Do you have any lawn chairs or anything I can sit on? Something like that?
Get one out of the shed.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to sit down and eat my steak and shake. Yes, Michael Myers took me there. Turns out your steak and shake is run by Terminators.
Terminators? Wasn't that just shocking?
Yes, Terminators. I know. The exoskeleton ones, not the Arnold Schwarzenegger ones, so you might want to look into that.
I'm not surprised. It was only a matter of time.
Well, I'm going to go grab a lawn chair.
You go right ahead and do that, man. Get one out of the shed.
Skinny. Welcome home, old friend. Gee, I wonder what Midnight will think of this. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the conclusion to our third Halloween special. I'm pretty happy with the way that... I'm happy with the way this trilogy ended. We read some Creepypasta, we fought against Chucky, and even Fabio and Skinny showed up at the end. And Skinny wasn't just a skeleton this year either. Well, all I got to say is, have a happy Halloween. As you should. Oh, his name's Skinny. Or maybe it's Midnight.
Can you come get your cat, please? He won't let me eat my burger. It's really annoying. I'm really hungry.
Hang on a minute.
Skinny, get out of the bag.